Hello, this is Bill Scheid from Applied Finance Research with a special video to celebrate the fact that this month marks 15 years since I attended my very first workshop with Dr. Ken Long at the Tharp Institute in Cary, North Carolina. It's hard for me to find words for what an impact Ken has had on my life, but to sum it up, that workshop in February of 2011 kicked off the whole journey that led me to become a super trader, led me to teach courses at VTI, and at Ken's request, eventually to take on the supervision, implementation, teaching, and continuous improvement of the BMR systems. Everything we do today with monthly systems traces back to the really groundbreaking work that Ken did with the first generation BMR core systems that he originally developed and taught at VTI. The second generation systems that we teach here are a direct evolution of Ken's original foundation, and we wouldn't be here if it weren't for Ken. So to celebrate the anniversary, I'm going to share with you the results from the very first monthly system that I learned from Ken. So let's jump into, first of all, the portfolio and the rule set. So at that workshop in February of 2011, Ken taught this monthly system that had a portfolio of 13 ETFs. We see we have quite a diversity of equities, both US and international, and we have some bonds thrown in there as well. In terms of the rule set, I don't want to give away too much to respect Ken's intellectual property, but it's a long only monthly system. It looks at 6-month momentum and no stops and no short positions. So it's a fairly straightforward and fairly simple monthly system. And we have to watch out for our complexity bias because even though this system is quite simple, it handily outperformed the S&P 500. So let's take a look at the results. These results are generated by etfreplay.com, and on the equity curve, the green line is the backtest of the system, and the blue line is the backtest of the S&P 500 buy and hold. So we see that the system returned 1,302.4%, while the S&P returned 1,080.8%. The system had a CAGR of 12.2%, while SPY buy and hold had a CAGR of 11.3%. The system did have a maximum drawdown of minus 49.5%, but we do have to remember that this system in this form does not have any stops. So we could, well, it has the time-based stop, I should say. So we could reduce that number by adding a simple trailing stop, which Ken taught for other versions of monthly systems, or with the sober volatility stop, which we know brings the maximum drawdown, reduces the maximum drawdown quite a bit. In terms of winning periods, we have 64.1% win rate, so that's going to be psychologically a fairly easy system to trade. About 2 out of 3 months are going to be winning months, which is going to make it feel pretty easy to stick with. The system outperformed the S&P 52% of the months. Best period, 17.3%. Worst period, minus 18.05. Median winning period, 3.09. Median losing period, minus 2.69. So this system has outperformed the S&P over the long term, and again, this is straight out of the box with none of the optional components that we know improve performance. So to me, this stands as a clear example of the value and robustness of Ken's teachings. And we have to remember that this is an early version of the systems, and that as Ken evolved his teaching and as I've evolved the second generation systems, the performance has just continued to improve and improve and improve. So anyone who followed this system, who took that VTI workshop back in 2011, would be more than satisfied with the results, considering it beats the S&P pretty nicely. So all that is to say, Ken, thank you so much for the difference you've made in my life. Thank you so much for the difference you've made in the lives of so many people. This is Bill Scheid from Applied Finance Research. Thank you very much for watching, and happy investing.